run a branding and a marketing agency out of Bangalore, and I generally try to work with startups because it's more fun and it's always more there's more thing to do with respect to their for them. And I essentially help them or handhold them in their entire digital journey. How they can get online, how can they really showcase themselves, present themselves, and then achieve their goals for which they are there online. That's essentially I do in a nutshell. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'll present. One second, just let me know if you can see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Is visible?
Yes.
Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about digital branding for your business. So digital branding is actually a fairly common word. I'm sure, you would have heard it somewhere, but what I'm going to be doing today is going to be breaking it into two. I'll also be telling what exactly it means. So this is below you can see the definition from Wikipedia, which is fairly what I'm going to be talking about today, but I'll be getting more detailed about everything. So if I break this word, that is digital and branding. Digital and branding. So for branding, essentially means how are you showcasing your brand. Okay, one thing before that, we'll be talking purely about digital world here because we are trying to showcase a brand in online realm. So branding essentially would mean that how are you showcasing your story, how are you showcasing your business or your brand or telling the world about your business, right? And when you do that in online means that's digital branding essentially. And today, as we know, everything is going online. It's become inevitable. Everybody has to move online. Especially at least for a couple of years, if not long. Now it is very, very important. And there are other advantages, not only because of COVID, but the other advantage from before also. There's a lot of there is much larger user base and much global scenario you can really pitch to or be a part of, with respect to having customers or really putting your business forward to a lot of eyes, right? So that's why it makes total sense to probably move digital. So, okay, how I'm going to be starting is I've tried to keep it very practical and really based on my experience, right? There are certain steps which I'll be telling you, which are essential for every business to do or to take up when they are actually going digital, right? And I'm going to be also dissecting or probably talking about digital and branding aspects together in juxtaposition to each other, how they are linked and how to not confuse it with digital marketing. So essentially, we're not confusing this with digital marketing. I'm not here to tell you about how to generate leads for your business, but I'm going to be telling you what to do, which can enable that marketing to happen ultimately, right? There's certain background things, certain things which you need to be doing to your business or brand when you're showcasing and portraying it online. You're supposed to be branding it in a certain way. Seeing that, other activities follow, other goals really get achieved based on certain. But if you've not done your groundwork or if you've not done your basic work right, then other things also don't happen. And things get blamed generally on digital marketers that things are not happening. I'm not getting my leads, I'm not getting my reach and whatnot, right? But what we really miss on is that basic groundwork, which is very important in showcasing. Have you really built your house right before you invite people into it? It's like that. So a typical journey of any user is that even if this is for offline also, if you meet, you find somebody somewhere, it can be a networking session, it can be anything. Then you meet that person. And then you get to know that person when you talk. And talking in more perspective of your business, you want to let him know about your business. That what are you really offering, and whether he should know he's a potential customer or he may or may not be a potential customer. You want to tell him about what you do and also know what he does. And then ultimately, if everything goes well, it happens in a conversion for your business, right? This is a very standard cycle to meet anybody and get conversion. This is, of course, a long cycle. It takes time. It takes nurturing. It takes a lot more to do it. But these 4 steps it is comprising of. So I just broke it into 2 parts here, digital and branding. So knowing somebody or probably getting to know more about you, what are you doing, how can you help that business, is basically coming in the showcase part, which I call branding here, because you have to really showcase your story in the right way so that he knows you. Finding and meeting happens online. You can find anybody through ads, you can find anybody through social media, you can do various things. But once you just by looking at others' profile or getting the others to see your profile does not help, right? You need to tell more about you. So they end up going to your own channels, your own website, your various presence online, which you set it up in a certain way to tell more about yourself. So the first step, as I said, is see your home here is your profile, your presence or internet. Social is a meeting place. Social networks are a meeting place for your brand, right? But ultimately, you want everybody. Once you meet a friend, you call him into your home, right, or probably to your place. And your place is your presence on internet, which is comprising of basic three things which is mentioned here. Basically, like they can be like many other things, but I just mentioned the top things which are most important for a business when it's starting out to get digital. So one is your website, which is very, very important. Then there are social profiles for yourself, which is very related in terms of communication, but that is a different purpose to serve. Your social profiles are supposed to really get you new people who ultimately go to your website. Google listing and other listings are also important because of some specific Google SEO reasons. That's why I placed Google listing specifically here, because that's something a must have, because your business should be there on Google Maps and should be there on Google search to be indexed by them. So you can have various other listings, but I'm not talking about those because it can be just dial and whatnot, right? But I'm just talking about most important things here. So again, having a website is not negotiable. This is 100%, because a lot of people end up thinking that I have an Instagram profile. I only run my business through Instagram. I don't need a website. But no, you don't know about these algorithms, how these change, how these going to be pushing your website down, or probably your profile down the drain by certain algorithm which promote certain kind of businesses only going forward, right? We have these algorithms changing every day, whether it be Facebook or whether it be Instagram or any other platform. So what we need to really stick to is our story told right in our own house, which we can control. That's your website. The website is something which is owned by you. It can be, I'm not talking about 1-pager or 10-pager site. I'm talking about the right place to have your content rightly told to the outside world, given a chance. That should be your website. To go digital, so now there are certain steps we need to take. So I'm going to be telling you what all things not to miss on a website, what you should be having online, whether it be a website or a social profile. First, your presence online is, I repeat, first your presence online is very, very important. Your story has to be told perfectly right to be able to really work any marketing on it. Otherwise, I mean, if you run like ads worth thousands and your own story is not told right, then nothing's going to be converting, right? So your story has to be branded. Your business has to be branded in the best possible way. The right story told in your own places allocated for your business on the internet. Let it be website or a social profile. So we start with goals. Okay, goals is something. So why are we really trying to go digital? See, sales is everybody's goal, typically what we see. But we need to get deeper into it. Sales through what? Sales of what? Sales and what? Right? So these are just some examples. You can have your own goal, which is not a part of this list also, but I'm just giving some examples for you to think around. How can it is very, very important for you to really write down your goal in a paper and a pen before you get started. Because if you just think your goal and go ahead, this goal is going to be changing in the journey of setting it up for you. So it is important for you to really clearly lay out, can be more than one goal. You have to clearly lay out what your goals are and why are you really getting in this online? Why are you really taking a business online? Why are you really setting up a space for yourself online? This is very, very important to set your goals here. The next step is maybe understand what who is your customer. It's very important here. I don't really want you to make this kind of a diagram to do all that, but you can just see the basic questions here and get to know as much as you want to know, or you can know about your customer. If you're selling shoes, for example, you need to really know what kind of user. Your business cannot sell to the whole world. It has to have a segment. It has to have a certain kind of, if your shoes are like formal shoes, then office goers is the thing. If your shoes are like casual shoes, then runners are your, athletics are your probably potential. I mean, I'm just saying, but yeah, it can be, I mean, there should be much deeper thought behind who your customer is. What are they doing? What are they wanting to do? Where are they really spending time online, right? What are their goals? What are the challenges they're facing because of which they will end up buying your product or service? Right? And how do you get to this? How do you figure out who your customers are? So you talk to your existing customers, or you read a secondary research available on your industry online. There are various reports available of various kind, paid and unpaid. There are some very valuable blog articles written by some very, very
yeah. This is one of the most important slides so far. None of the speakers who have come in till today ever shared a slide like this. This is the single most important slide which is there, is your persona. Who is your customer? So thanks, Vin. This is really good. It's really, really meaningful. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much. So it is very important. See, any business for that matter, this is even holding offline for that reason. But since I'm an expert online, so I'll be speaking only in online context. But If you don't know your goals, why are you here for? What will you pursue? If you do not know your customers, who will you sell? I mean, anything done without thinking, just randomly throwing in on the internet does not get any results. And then you end up saying that, okay, we don't get results. The internet is bad. Facebook is bad. That is bad. God is bad. Whatever. But more than anything, it is your understanding of your customer which is bad, not your presence right now. So this is important. So you talk to your existing customers, you figure out what your industry reports are available, where they are available, whether it is worth buying a paid report, or you can go by free blogs written by industry experts to figure out what your potential buyer is doing today online. The third thing, this is a very, very important thing again. It is something to do with your business at the end of the day. Your story has to be told right. If you do not tell what your brand is, you are just like any other brand. There are like thousands of shops in the market. Anybody can go in anywhere, right? I've put an example. There is a picture there. This is one of these shops in the market. Just imagine this shop being there in a market. I've taken offline examples for you to better relate. I mean, all these things hold online, but I'm trying to tell you these basics are all holding right. So this right next to this shop, there's a basic shop where there's nothing written, just the name. Just imagine what are the chances of you getting in this rather versus that one. See, they're telling the story in one line. Story doesn't mean history, but it is telling the trust factor. They are there for more than about 100 years. Fetches by far since 1905. They're there for about more than 100 years, which tells their story. Yeah, if the shop is existing for about past 100 years, there's something doing good or something right only. That is the reason it existed for so long, right? So your history is not your story always, but you find your USP. You find your best way to communicate your story. You tell your best things, which can build that trust or that experience for the end user. This very well holds online. I mean, you visit websites, you visit pages, social pages. What kind of things impresses you? What kind of things really gets the trust? Okay, yeah, it can be testimonials online, right? You get to know people and brands. Okay, they're trustworthy. About 100,000 guys have really spoken good about them. So it can be anything. It can be various ways to tell your story. But more than that, you should know what you are about. What are you really trying to pursue, right? As a brand. If you're selling apparel, that's fine. But what is the backstory behind it? Right? If you're selling something online or even offline, what is the story behind it? What is the backstory? How are you different from the other apparel seller next door? Right? That is something you need to bring out here. It can immensely lead to a huge, traffic generation for your online means, because people look for stories. People look for the right means to connect with the brand. And this is where it happens. Okay, I'm going to be telling you one technique, very simple. Like, all of you introduce yourself briefly. Everybody took a paragraph to introduce yourself of a few minutes. I'm going to be telling you a technique of how you can. This is not telling brand story exactly, but this is basically telling your brand in online domain. See, in online world, the attention spans are very slow. One comes across your brand or a certain communication given out by you in various forms. It can be emailer, it can be social media, it can be website by chance, or a search result, anything. But they have just 2 or 3 or 5 seconds to really, read about you and move on. Either you impress them in like 5 seconds and they read more about you, or your potential customers read more about you, or you just move on. So one thing I'm going to be telling you is how to showcase your brand properly. This is a very well-known technique, which is invented by one of the branding and marketing companies in the world. But this is like a standard today, and it's been working very well. It's known to work very well across businesses. So just a simple example I've taken here. I think somebody here is a couple of you are our financial services guys, right? So I'm just taking an example. I'll show you more examples after this. So a question being asked, what are they visiting you for? A particular website is being visited to understand what do you do, right? Or if somebody asks you even in a networking session, what do you do? So you can just say that I provide financial advices or services, right? But just tell me how. The next question follows, but who has time? They just see and move on, right? If you're talking to somebody in person, you can still provoke that next question to happen, and you can do that. But online, that's not there. They see your brand somewhere where you don't know where. And how can that next question never comes, and they move on. They say, okay, thousands of financial providers are there. We don't have to curry. We'll have to look for more. That's fine. They don't care. Not everybody cares is what I mean. But tell me if you say this, just read it for a second. The time taken to read will be like 5 seconds only. This also and top also, or maybe 6 seconds here. But just tell me, this is what I've done here is I've broken this into 3 parts. three parts. Your business story is broken into three parts. The first line is the problem, which you tell the user so that they connect with their situation, right? The second is solution, which you tell what you provide and how you solve that problem. And the third is that reward, which is the end result of getting that solution from you. So I'm not going to be reading the lines, but the first line talks about problem, the second line talks about solution, and the third line talks about the reward or the success factor, which comes in here. Another example here. Let's see this. What do? We sell pet food. Now see the answer below. Is it more convincing for your brand when they find this online? Do they really be interested to know more about you reading below or the top? So this is important to communicate the problem, solution, and success of any business online, especially online when you're not there to explain further. You're just there to communicate one-sided. Third one, I think somebody here does sell used cars also, but this is not specific to anybody who's selling cars, but this is just a general example of a company, say, who has a certain way of selling cars. But yeah, this is their USP. So they are kind of presenting this here. So 3 lines again. What do? I sell used cars. Okay. Nobody likes to haggle because there's a lot of haggling, and then this is what the solution they provided, and this is the reward in the end for the user to relate to as the result of getting the solution from this particular business, right? So now we come to another important point, which is visual look and feel. Okay, so we talked about story, we talked about goals, we talked about customers now. Okay, so now we get to visual look and feel here. Okay, I mean, all of you have seen good sites, bad sites, good social profiles, bad social profiles, good looking, bad looking, communicating right or wrong, various kinds, right? Tell me there's a shop on the market which looks like this, and the next to there's a shop which looks like this. Where are you most likely to get in? This is a very, very clear, or something like this. Don't you think you get in something which looks better, or probably you stay or look at longer, or at least read the name there if it looks better? The same thing holds for online world. I mean, there are millions of sites today, millions of profiles of any kind today. You have to stand out in various forms of looking good. You just cannot be there for the sake of being it. That's where your branding visually is very important here. So other things are equally important, but this is also important, because if you don't get, this little first impression which probably attracts the user. When they get attracted, then they read it, right? First this color or the look and feel attracted a user, then they read the name, the supermarket, right? Otherwise they will not even read the name. They will not even bother to read the name, right? So it's important to have we'll talk about this later in detail, but it's very important to have a very good looking look and feel to your business that looks like a business, looks like somebody genuine. It builds that external additional trust, which is very important for a business to be showcasing online. Another example I'm going to give you. This is Apple's website, very old. I mean, very in early days, right? I mean, I'm taking it as a bad design example today because this is how it looked. Today you see a site like this, nobody's going to read so much, right? Versus what they show today. So this is the difference, right? I mean, Apple is one classic example every designer is going to be giving, or every marketer gives now and then. But this is very true, actually. So a very clear, consistent communication, very clear design, which kind of grabs your attention, and you really end up reading it. Do you really read this? Nobody reads it. Another example. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll come to that later. So this is one example I'm going to give here. So this is an example of a site which should be looking how it should look. Clear, consistent communication, good looking looks. People really want to see further or read further about a business on this, right? They don't stop here. Here you just see and read 2 lines and go away, right? Then, okay, this is now continuing to that particular point of designing your business in the right way and keep it consistent across various channels online. So how do you do that? I mean, it's easy to say that keep your channels consistent and keep your design all in place. But so I'll come to the specific tools later, but I'm going to tell you what to do. You have to, so it takes about 7 to 13 touches before a person becomes a customer online. There's a journey which a customer goes through one after the other. And you have to keep following that up in various forms. Sometimes it's email marketing, sometimes it's social marketing, sometimes it's a website reading, sometimes it is, passing it on your contact details to that person there. So various information, various touch points are really having your brand laid out, telling your brand story in a certain way. So it's important to be consistent across. It's important to really have a particular type to communicate your design. The story has to be right taken, but even the visuals have to be right, because that's what grabs attention. I'm telling you very practical stuff, which I've really faced and seen in industry for a while now. I mean, I've been in for about 10 plus years now, and it's been working like a charm here. Again, it brings identifiability. Like if you see this presentation, it is showing up in my company's brand color. There's a certain kind of colors and fonts being used consistently across. So I'll tell you in the end, I'm probably this is how probably I present my presentation, because I want to be consistent. Even if somebody comes across this later, they will recall that this is a Brand Heroes presentation tomorrow. So this is important to really be consistent. And how do we do that? We make a written style guide. Okay, this list is just not exhaustive, but you don't have to really do everything in it. But it is important to have kind of laid out, what colors of logo. You're not using red logo once and blue logo once, right? You're using one standard kind of logo, one kind of tagline every time. You need to have a certain kind of fonts being used all across. Like in my presentation, the one font is not in different look and feel on the next slide, right? It's all across same. What kind of videos or graphic styles you're looking at. I'll come to examples later. And what kind of backgrounds you follow. I mean, various elements which are related to a branding activity, which I would say here. These have, again, this is not a very, very, very strict list to be, but it is something where you should be taking cues from. Especially color palette is very important. That's where probably attention goes first. So what kind of messaging, what kind of voice you're using, tone, you're a formal tone business or you're a casual tone business. All that has to be consistent across over a period of time. This is not one-time activity. You're writing a lot on your website. You're writing a lot on your social profiles and channels and posts every day and ads day-to-day basis, right? You are all doing in a view to get more customers, attract more leads, attract more, spread more awareness about your business, right? So there are a couple of tools which I mentioned here, which you might be knowing of also. There's a tool called Canva, which is very popular. These are some ready tools. These are not expert tools, but they are very, very good to give you some insights on ready templates and color combinations to pick from, which you can really reuse elements from these across your website and various channels. So one is Canva, one is Adobe Spark. These are all free tools to use. They have a paid version, but free should be enough for a starter, and that does almost all the jobs. And there's one called Stencil, very similar to Canva. There are many others, but I've just given you the leaders here, which are most popular. You can maybe explore these tools at your will, and you'll get to know immediately as you get in, you'll get to know how beautifully they have really laid out templates for you to reuse and use it for your brand going forward. Another example here. Okay, this is Yahoo's old website. Okay, if you end up seeing this kind of site today, what do you think? You really do not know what to go, what to do. You do not have time really to read everything behind the line. This is done like, this got a bad design, I would say today, because you have just 5 seconds to impress anyone. This is nothing you're going to be doing in 5 seconds here. Versus today, it's much cleaner and much better. It's much more organized. It's much more structured, right? You know what's where. What are you looking for? Whether you know to look at right bottom here. If you're looking for a news kind of headlines, you know where to look at. If you're looking for certain entertainment category, you know where to look at. It's very clear, very clearly laid out, very clearly structured and communicated rightly here. So again, this is your home. You should ensure it is very, very rightly laid out. Otherwise, even if you manage able to get it to your home, they will run away if they don't find the right things. If your home is like this, will they stay? They will run away. They will not. Even if you say they was telling us something, oh, let me come back to it later, I'll read at leisure, and that never comes back. Again, attention spans are too low. People are too busy in their life. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of notifications on phone coming every minute. People get lost. People forget. Okay. So now coming to, again, the importance of website again here. See, it is something, everything ultimately leads to your website. You can do various marketing activities online. You can do posts, ads. You can even do physical meetups. You end up giving your business cards, right? And what your business card contain? Your website only. Ultimately, nobody's going to call you today, right? I mean, mostly. If somebody knows you very well, somebody's really in dire need of something you do, they'll call you. But otherwise, they end up visiting your website to know more about you first, right? And where do you take them? Take them to your website. That's the only way. They're not going to be showing, when you give them business card, they're not going to be looking at your Facebook profile first. They're going to be looking at, or a Twitter or Instagram or a LinkedIn profile first. They're going to be looking at your website first. They want to see what you do first, right? And then you want to go to there'll be other things, and you want to go to other. That's why I'm saying that other channels are also not ignorable. But yeah, website is the most important, and this is non-negotiable. It is the thing for you to be impressive and tell your story right.
So one of the things which I did is I used to send the speaker details by WhatsApp. So now what I do is, like, you saw yesterday, I made a mistake in your spelling, so I changed that again. So straight I send that link. So automatically what happens, person clicks on that link. So the whole bio of the person is there and it goes upload. So I get the hits on the website, because website is the only property which you own.
Yes.
Balance everything is owned by some other brand or something.
Yeah, and important, right? And you have your control, right? What you want to showcase inside is in your hands, right? How do you want to portray your brand or showcase your brand to others is on your hand, right? So that's very important. And one more thing, I mean, this WhatsApp example you gave is very relevant here, because you send speaker details on WhatsApp. So what is the next question? If somebody's sending to a new person, be like, what is it about? What is Curafluence, right? What is that? So all that, it just leads to next question and more talks and more time involvement, right? I mean, if you have your website properly laid out, they go to your link and they read on their own. They don't ask you come back to your various questions like that, right? So it saves your time. You can really reach out to 2 people in that much time rather than 1, right? Or maybe 3. So
Okay.
it values your time perfectly. You have to have a proper house of yours, home of your online. That's where it's treated like a home of yours. Take everybody there. That's it. It is rightly done. If you want to change there. It's rightly done. Take everybody there. Okay, I'm going to be getting a little bit specific about what to have in a website and what not to have. I mean, this is to make it a little practical and make it a little more actionable is what I just came up with this. See, website making, do not get overwhelmed by that. You need to have an agency or somebody to really make a website of your own. There are some DIY tools which are very easy today, and you can really get online and make your own site very easily. Just a little bit of moving here and there, probably trying out those platforms helps. Like these are some names below, which is Wix, Weebly. So there are like lot many. I just put the top names here. WordPress is the last one here in the list, which will require a little bit of know-how, technical know-how. But if you do not even have that, you kind of know the other platforms. They're just like drag and drop editors and amazing to use, easy to use. What is must-have? These are 6 things I've mentioned here, which are must-have in a website. Tell your story in a proper way. When what's the expectation by the user when he comes on your site is to know these 6 things. And if you do not have any of these 6 things, you're kind of losing out a chance to get that user converted to your potential client or customer or even talk. So it is important to have each of these 6. There can be more things, not just 6, there can be more, but these 6 are mandatory and must have for everything. Like pricing may not hold for everyone, so you can just skip it. But otherwise, these are very important things to have on a website. The bottom part of the screen, what you see is these are additional things which you cannot ignore. And that's how these platforms take care of things. You should ensure that these platforms and your website in the end is taken care of. Majority of people visit the websites on mobile. If a mobile site is not mobile friendly, it is of no use. 70% of people will end up and getting away from it. So then even if you have those first 6 things in place, it's of no use if it is not mobile friendly. So make sure these things are in place. There's a clear navigation. If you want to take them to other pages of yours, they should be able to find where the navigation is, right? It should not be a treasure hunt to find a navigation on a mobile or especially on a computer, right? The speed of loading is important. If it loads more than 3 seconds late or 4 seconds late, people will close the page. They don't have time. They'll go to other respective list in the Google search which they're getting, right? There's a long list they're waiting to attend to. Right? SEO analytics is something which you should be installing. This is a little bit of important because you should know what you are ultimately who's coming, right? And if it's like firing in the dark. If you don't really have SEO analytics set up, you should be able to be searchable, be findable, and these platforms do take care of that as well in a very good way, in a very simple way. They all have amazing help guides. It's not that you need an agency or an expert help to really do all of this. As a business, you should be having a home where all these things are in place. It is just non-negotiable again. Okay, I get to the other means now. Website is now done. Website is something I gave you some tips on how to put your website there, how to make sure websites are consistent with your brand, how to make your website has the right content in it, what is to be not to be missed in a website, how to communicate your business or brand. What I'm taking you to now is social media channels, because this is also your second home on the internet, right? If not first. So your second home is your social media channel. Now you have to be so they're like about popular ones are like 4 to 5, but there are about 10 or 12 social channels today, right? And everybody seems to be working respectively for that industry best. It can be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything, depend on LinkedIn, depends on what your brand is in, what space your brand is in, and how you've been using that. So just a couple of pointers here with respect to channels. So I mean, there's a way to connect. Everybody is like having their own industry supported, and the way the journey is handled for the user. for some channel, even email is a channel, right? So I mean, if you're retargeting a customer who's really visited your website once, email is a better way rather than, taking him again or something, taking him again to your site, or showing your ad again to him. I'm not getting into ads here. It comes out of my mouth every time, but I'm just trying to be very, very specific here with respect to your branding on the internet and your presence on the internet. Different type, and this is specifically relating to what kind of channels you should be on and what kind of you should not be on. I mean, you can be on all, but where to put your energies and focus on, right? So, what a good idea is that to have one primary channel where you identified your customers already, you identified where your customers hang out already, you identified your story with your industry already, you have really written your goals beforehand. So now you know what kind of channels are really in line with those goals and those customers which you are really targeting at the end of the day, right? And this link which I've given you, which social channels to you choose, just make note of this link. This is an amazing updated research-based backed link to tell what kind of users, what are their genders, what are their age groups, what are their industries, what are their interests. They're hanging around on various different social platforms. This is very important for you to figure out whether if you're selling a shoe, whether you should be on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. You should be knowing what kind of age group is your target audience and where they flock around more today, right? And that's where it makes sense to put all your energies. So this is the whole thing of choosing a social channel. Then coming to execution. Again, here also we have to have goals in mind. So your business goals are in place, but your social goals also have to be there. I mean, your business goals not necessarily always align with the social activities which you do on these platforms. So you have to make a list of your social goals, your social media marketing goals here. I'm touching upon marketing here because the branding bit is done where you set up your brand rightly on internet. Now you have to market that brand. I'm just kind of touching upon to give you some help with respect to getting started and using that home on the internet you recently built. So you have some clear goals in your mind. You have to make sure you write down these again. Make sure your activities on social media are in line with these goals of what you're trying to do. These are again some examples. The goal can be totally your own. You have to, you have already made a style guide now. What's the point of making that if you don't use it, right? You have to for the recall reason, you have to use branded content. I've given an example here on the right. You see similar kind of colors and styling used on a social post here. You have to follow the style guide. One thing which is important here, which gets missed out, is tone and the language. Your post is along with a caption, right? And what you write, even on the graphic, or you write a caption along with it, it has to be in line of your brand is. If your brand is very formal, LinkedIn is the channel for you, and the language which you know how it is on LinkedIn, right? Versus the language which is on Instagram. So it is important for you to understand your channel and really act accordingly with respect to your style guide. Your voice is also a part of your style guide generally. Your brand voice is what I'm talking about. Then you have to create relevant content, which is pretty clear. I think if you're in a certain industry, you can say if you're selling shoes, you can maybe post about apparel because which apparel goes with the shoes. That's all related, right? But you cannot talk about gen sets there. There's nothing to do with shoes, right? So it's it should be very custom. So once in a while, you can always reshare a content coming from other sources. You can always reshare another important, useful link for your followers or users, but it's not always the right thing to do. You can once in a while you can share others' content, but what they're looking is custom and genuine and real content coming from your brand, your business, giving them real value with respect to various tips and what you are into or telling. And first, keep the user first. You don't have to really brag about what you do all the time. You give them real value of what you can do for them. It's very important to really have that communication in place. The content types can be graphics, images, blogs, videos, whatever you're good at, whatever you're comfortable at is what you should be focusing on, but do it good. You shouldn't be nailing it. Videos is something which is going very huge and very big, but not everybody is really comfortable with shooting videos. Not everybody is comfortable with those short clippings of videos, or even YouTube as a channel, because it presents a lot of them speaking on camera to the world. But videos are going big. If you can, this is a tip. If you can do other things very well, no doubt about it. But if you can do videos, it's going to be huge. No denying about it. Please try. There's nothing called as right or wrong here. Try, you'll get better with time. But try to, and your phone is enough. You don't need a professional camera unless you're doing a very, very high profile shooting. Your social channel, you're representing your brand as human as possible on social media. A good camera on your phone should be enough. So this is what I was trying to say. One thing I would like to say in the end, which is very important here. So again, you have a style guide in place, you have all the study in place done. But 3 months down the line, you forget everything and you start posting anything, anywhere, start updating your website in any form, talking to anyone in any form, right? But no, that's not the thing. So again, more than 50% of the businesses don't stick to their rules which they lay out like this in the early stages, right? And what I'm trying to say that don't be very casual with it. It has to be a strategic move. Let's not try anything, right? That doesn't look like a good idea. There's a strategy backed idea, and then you execute it in a certain way. Consistency is very important. You cannot see brands build over a time, right? I mean, you know Apple and Nike today as brands, but how many years they took to really build? Apple was not launched and it did not become Apple what it is today, right? I mean, Nike was not today, not immediately became what it is today, right? It took years and years, and branding is not just presenting your side of story; it's also presenting the customer side of story, how the customers perceive your brand. But you lay the background, you lay the ground, you lay the background where how they would start to look at you, and then your service comes in play, then your various aspects of other cycle in the sales process, and then post sales process, which ensures how your brand is looked upon and felt by the potential customers. So that's it. What I did now is I just put that 3-word thing in my business, and this is what I say. It can always evolve. It's not like the right or wrong, but this should tell you in one line what I do. It should tell you in one line of what I do for businesses all around the world. This is it, and so I don't need to speak more than what these 3 lines now speak about me. That should be done. And if you are now, I'm open to questions. If there's anything you'd like to probably ask, is there any questions around? Should I check the chat?
May I?
Who's that?
Suhas.
Suhas had raised his hand, so we'll put his hand down and you can talk now.
Okay. Vin, thank you for your presentation. I would like to ask you, you said consistency is the key.
Yeah.
We agree on that. But where to find such a consistency, or do you have any laid down terms for that? About website I'm speaking now.
So
what kind of maintenance do you recommend for a website so that it becomes more and more visible on a regular basis?
So
and from whose side?
So there are a couple of things here. So maintenance, when you say, see, first of all, you need to get your story right in the first go. Okay. So assuming, just correct me if I'm getting it wrong. So assuming that your website is well laid with all the elements in its place and all the story about your brand and the visual thing is all in place. Is that correct?
So does this story also need a regular maintenance? My question starts from there only.
Yeah. So yeah. So
does it need regular updates?
Yeah. So see, so definitely it makes sense to, so I'll come to technical aspect later. It's technical reason for which you should be updating your site too. But to answer your question from a branding perspective first, it is not important to update your story again and again. Your story should be speaking about your brand at the end of the day. If your brand ideology or methodology has changed, then your story should update accordingly. Right. Okay. If you are believing in certain values or ethics and core values today, or if you're certain aspects of service today, and tomorrow they change, a major chunk has changed with respect to how you approach a customer, how your process is, then that story has to be updated, right? The key is to have that truth and trust in place on your website, which is not wrong at any point in time. So that is where it calls for an updation on the website content, if that's what we're talking about. Regarding an update and maintenance from a perspective of content, it is important. See, Google, again, technically we see every site is to be searched. Ultimately, we want the site to be searchable in the end of the day so that people can find them, right?
Okay.
And Google crawlers are looking for fresh content every day. So the more updates you do to your site, the better it is. But it does not make sense to update a homepage every day or update any page every day for that reason. That is why we have blogs. So what they end up doing is they have blog section where they end up writing blogs for their website, which is fresh and new content. And there is a lot of keywords in it for Google crawlers to find about your business. So that is why it makes sense to have relevant blogs on your website and update it regularly.
Okay.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, a lot of points you have cleared because you mentioned importance of blogs to me today. So that is where I should concentrate.
The only reason, I'll tell you frankly, practically most of the businesses today are having only blogs up for the sake of SEO. Trust me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Kavya.
Yes. Hi, Vin. Firstly, thank you so much. Very insightful presentation. I also noticed the backdrop that you used was very similar to the colors of your color scheme of your presentation as well. So I think red is a common favorite. My question actually comes on the blogs again. For my website, as in for the handloom brand that I own, Kalanika, we also have a blog wherein we do the storytelling. My doubt is how often should the blog be updated? Is there a timeline to that? Should it be every day? Should it be once in a week, twice in a week?
So
What is your insight? Yeah.
as long as you can do it as frequent without annoying your customers.
Okay.
So the thing is, if I send you a blog email every day, you don't want that frequent email, right? I mean, that again, to talk to your customers to figure out what they want. If they're looking for fresh content which they're dying for every day, then do it every day, or once in like twice in a day also. So consistency is the frequency totally determined by the kind of customers you're dealing with, kind of audience who's reading your blog, right?
Okay.
But as a general rule, or as in general, see, we are overloaded with content today, right? I mean, there are so many channels to check, so many things to look at. I mean, so many emails, so many spams and whatnot comes. Everything has to be looked at, if not, right? So we don't want to really look at particular brand with like everyday basis, right?
Right.
So maybe if it is too much to share, if it's good, really worthwhile information to share on a blog, you can do that maybe every third day.
Every third day.
That's called frequent. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just quickly add another question to this. When you said blog for the SEO bit, so how do you associate a backlink or an SEO bit to the blog? Is it a blog? Is it just to share it, or how?
So backlink is the difficult part in SEO, and
Right.
I mean, this is a different discussion we can have altogether. So a backlink
Sure.
is something which is totally different. But I'm going to tell you what blog does. So SEO comprises of, I mean, I'm not an SEO expert, but I'm going to tell you. So SEO comprises of two parts. One is on-site SEO, one is off-site SEO. What you just spoke about backlink is off-site SEO. That's a different story. On-site SEO is like about 10 or 12 steps which are important for every site to be able to make them findable. And these are actually in-house your own site settings, which should be made in a certain way, done in a certain way. So those 10, 12 points have to be in place for that SEO, basic SEO to work. And that is in your hands to make them.
Sure. Super. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Right. So Pushkar, put 1 second. Deepak Dhingra had asked for Deepak. Yeah, Deepak, you had a question.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, Vin, like you talked about creating a community of your customers and how you can involve people who are into the same line. So what do you suggest? Like, let's say, so I have a startup basically, and I want to create a community of tech people who are relevant for my particular domain of technology, who are working in enterprise. What should be the best way to do it? Do you think blogging is the best way?
Have you communicated that? So, for example, say just take an hypothetical example here. So, for example, there is one potential person in your community which is a very good fit for your community. Okay, there's a tech guy, for example. He's a very, very fit guy.
Okay.
So you know him through some other contact, and you know this guy is very good. This guy is going to be he's one of the ideal candidates in my community. Okay. So
Okay.
now what you do? So you get a chance to talk to him, and you probably get a chance to send more information about your company to him, right?
Okay.
Tell me, what information would you send to him, and how well is it for him to really come and connect to as a community?
Okay. So, like, should I tell you?
Yeah, I mean, quickly, you can tell me in one line. I mean, do you have the information which you kind of really make him, so he's your potential customer in a way. You want to convert him to make purchase, right? And you have to have the right sales tools with you to make that happen, or marketing tools with you to happen, right? So do you have that?
As of now, I don't think I have that particularly one way to say that to a customer, being honest.
So that is the whole presentation about, right? You have to have your home built first. Unless you build your home,
Exactly.
you cannot go out and get
Exactly.
people in your home. Yeah, that's the whole basis of this presentation.
Correct.
That's why I focused on branding and not marketing here all the way.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right, Deepak,
Build your home right. Build your home right. Then we talk marketing up after that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else has? We'll just have a quick. One or two people had joined. So Ram, could you introduce yourself, please? Ram has also got some red star and Blue stars. Ram, are you there? Yes, Ram. Could you introduce yourself, please? Your mic is off. Mic is off.
Hi, I'm Ramkumar Srinivasan. I run the firm site2host.com. We are more of a complete web solutions agency, and we help our customers grow online profitably. So we help them in multiple ways to grow online profitably. That's what we do. Thank you so much.
And Vishwajit Patki is also there. So Ram, you can say hi to Vishwajit later. Okay, Vishwajit Patki was traveling with his phone everywhere. So I think he has finally stopped it. 1 second. Who else was there? Dr. Pushkar, you put your finger up. You want to ask a question, or you just said thumbs up in the group for something?
No, I just said I think thumbs up in the group.
Okay, fine, great. Deepak, you didn't introduce yourself. Could you please introduce?
Yeah, just a minute. So my name is Deepak Dhingra. I run a startup named Oring Technologies. We help manufacturing customers in increasing their shop floor efficiency. We have our solution for predictive maintenance, where we help customers in predicting the failure of their machine before that happens. And for that, we use machine learning technologies so that before the failure happens, we are able to predict that.
Great, thanks. 1 second. We had Meena, are you there? Meena Ranade. Your mic is off. If you're talking, we can't, and your video is also off. Okay. Second. Abhijit, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Abhijit Davade. I'm an education entrepreneur wearing a couple of hats. Director of a Finnish company in India called Vistech, which is into lower order and middle order IT skills assessment. I am also founder of a Bluebridge Education Management Consultants, known to turn around education outfits in India. Thank you.
Thanks. Hitesh, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Hitesh Pahuja. I'm a bespoke tailor by profession with my brand HP Sumazura. We manufacture products like suits, shirts, and trousers, which are completely bespoke, tailored, and custom made. Apart from that, I also assist my customers with styling and wardrobe management services. Thank you.
Thanks. Nilesh Arte, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good evening. This is Nilesh Arte from Sai Shraddha Engineers and Contractors. I'm a structural fabricator. If anybody want to construct any shed, expand any shed, or extend any shed, please call me. This is Nilesh Arte. Thank you.
Nilesh will organize the BMC permissions also, no? So they don't demolish the shed.
No, nobody will. It will not affect. Don't worry.
Kidding. Himangi, could you introduce yourself? Mic off, mic off.
Sorry. Hi everyone, I'm Himangi Sahare and my company's name is Soul Sugar Bakery and I'm into customized cakes and desserts. Yeah.
Nile, did you introduce yourself?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Yeah. Hi everyone. This is Nilay Jain. I'm founder of mycuteoffice.com, which is a marketplace for co-working spaces, and we are providing co-working spaces, meeting rooms, training rooms, video shooting spaces across Mumbai. Thanks.
Great. So, Nile, if you have to introduce a house, you should make it My Cute House also then.
The next thing we'll be doing that itself.
Rajesh, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening everyone. I am Rajesh Goel representing Netcom Systems. We sell and support all IT products including computers, laptops, desktops, servers and CCTV surveillance systems. Thank you.
Great. Dr. Pushkar Kasat.
Yes. Yeah. Hi, I am Dr. Pushkar Kasat and I treat patients having vertigo, dizziness, imbalance, giddiness. And I have a special interest in senior citizens as they are more prone to falls. So I help them prevent falls in such patients.
Great. Okay. Prasad Patki, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, myself Prasad Patki. I'm into commercial leasing and commercial interiors. We do commercial leasing pan India, those who wanted to have their offices, and we do interiors and giving by leasing of the entire interior fit out with a easy and equal EMI for the rest 5 years down the line. Thank you.
Great. Whom did I miss? Meena Ranade, are you there? Okay.
Sampath?
Yes.
I have a message from Meena. She is moving around her house doing some chores as she's listening. So she's kept her video and other things off.
Okay.
She's on a hand phone.
Okay. Roswald, are you there?
हाईवे की तरफ से
Okay. Roswald is where is people. I should make it. The video should be on. No putting video off. Otherwise we throw you out. There he is. He's come. He's
okay.
Yes.
I heard your warning, so I said okay, might as well. Yeah, I'm Roswald. I have a company called EcoNotion. I'm Dubai based. I'm into commercial interiors and exports of office furniture, and we also do LED outdoor signs. Thank you.
Great. So, does anyone have any more questions before we move to the breakout rooms?
Actually, I have a question, but I think the it is long one, so I'll connect to Win one-to-one if you'll allow me.
Correct. Great.
Sam, I'm there.
Who's that? Abhijit.
Nilesh Dalvi. Concrete.
Concrete. Yeah, concrete is hidden, always.
you always forget me.
Yeah, because your video is off, and then you come in and out. Bolo.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah, this is Nilesh here, and my company name is Concrete Creations. We are into construction of bungalows, residential apartment, factories, and industrial structure. Recently, we have completed 2.5 lakh square feet of the construction for Japanese company Horiba at Nagpur. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Abhijit, you got a question?
Yeah, I wanted to quickly chip in. Vinamra, first of all, thank you for a excellent presentation. Very few have an ability to stick to the basics and explain the basics properly. So thank you for that. Quick question is that when you say that, you're very right when you say that put your house in order before you want to start selling it. So my question is, what are those elements? And these are generally strategic elements. When you say put your house in order, a lot of things mean strategic clarity to the entrepreneur before he starts putting his story out and the elements of the story out. So any suggestions on getting the strategic thought process correct?
So see, I laid out few steps in which they were strategic, right? The first, let me just I'll just share once more. I'll just show quickly. So you write your goals first, right? And I mean, this is a session where I touched upon everything. It's something, there's a lot more deeper, but what I'm going to tell you is that we write our branding goals here first, right? We write a company goals here first, right? And then we define our customers. When you're doing all these activities, you're really really thinking strategically, right? I mean, you just cannot just assume that it's your customer. You're reading about somewhere, you really validate that information from your existing customer or whatnot, right? Who your customer is, what is your brand story, what are you trying to tell, how is your USP, how are you different from others, right? And what value are you providing, right? And then we came to the look and feel. I mean, then this is more of visual things, but yeah, I mean, so strategic thinking is among these first three steps where you define your story, you tell your customers are, and what is your goal to really be online. And when you do this properly, really you'll answer what you just asked, right? Does it make sense? Does it answer you for you, Abhijit? Or you have any question to that?
To an extent. I think we'll have to take it offline.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because I think I get what you're trying to say, but I think then it gets specific to what I mean. These are like, I just try to keep it very basic, because I mean, for everybody's thing to, I mean, who's not started out, they can also relate to it.
So. Yeah, that was important. Okay, guys, we have crossed the time. So I am dumping all of you, not dumping. I'm transferring all of you to all the 3 rooms are there. Curefluence 1, 2, 3. I managed to figure out how to rename them. And I'm sending you guys there. Okay. So everybody will get one option over there, join the room. So you can just go and join the room.
Bye, Vin. Thank you for the nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Vin.
Thanks. Glad liked it.